Boys and girls, we're going to go ahead and get started. Shout out to the homies, the sponsors, powered by Shrap and Love Playable, our homies.
What's up, crypto gamers? I'm pleased to share I've got some updates on Shrapnel. First off, in regard to the litigation, they are open to a reasonable settlement, but they are determined to protect their rights in court and share that they have strong lawyers who will be there to protect them. That statement was shared on their Twitter. Now, on the game side, they have a event planned for the end of November where people are going to be able to dive back into the sacrifice zone for 7 days straight. This event will be aimed at celebrating the community in the last year that they had, and they're going to pack that week full of prizes. There's going to be digital rewards. There's even going to be physical rewards. I hear rumors about controllers and graphic cards, and there's going to be some updates to gameplay too. So they're going to have Revolver, they're going to have a new AR, and I even hear there's going to be a big announcement that week. So certainly stay tuned for more details. When we have a date to share, we will certainly share it. Huge shout out to our sponsor, Playa3ull Games. They are inspired by gamers and funded by their community. They have a epic game on the Epic Games Store, a third-person shooter called Nexus. Hop on in there and check that out. They're also currently selling nodes, so if you're interested, check that out at their website, playable.games. That is a 3 instead of a B on Playable. Now strap in for the rest of this episode of Interlinked.
So let's just jump right in. And LeBoomington, welcome to the show.
Hey, Ben. Thanks for having me.
And of course, it's not just me that's having you. It's also Sir Nicholas, greatest co-host of all time.
Welcome to our home, LeBoomington, one you know quite well, probably
Yes.
more well than us.
I could probably name all of those books behind you.
So also, I think this is a perfect time to make a commentary on podcasting and shows in general, because you know how you were like, thanks for having me. I've done now probably 700 plus podcast episodes in my life, and everybody always says that, right? What goes through my mind every single time is I really want to say, you're welcome. Thanks for being had. But I don't necessarily think that would go well with the guest. But because you're awesome, we can talk about it. We could say that. We could say the quiet part out loud now.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being had.
Yeah.
So what folks may not know is that you edit all of our stuff. You edit all of our videos. And so tell us about that. What's that like?
Well, it's quite surreal because as a video editor, you stare at people's faces a lot. And that means you get to know their expressions, their micro expressions, and you get to know people really, really well. And then when you meet them in real life, it's mental because you feel like you know someone already. And already in Neo Tokyo, you've got this thing where we are interlinked. You know, we were all separated at birth kind of vibe. And so for the people I edit, like you, Nick, and Jared, there's that extra layer of knowing you. And so when we met a couple of months ago in Vegas, it was surreal because it was like, nice to meet you, but really, I saw you yesterday when we were doing the video. And so there is that deeper connection, I want to say, with the subjects. And also, just so you know, editing myself is super cringe. So this is going to be torture, and I'm sure you two are very happy about
that. And that's why in Vegas, I made sure that we played craps together and not poker.
God, I was so crap at craps. I still don't really understand what the game's about.
That would have been a great podcast, which was, but would you attempting to teach LeBoomington craps?
I just couldn't. I just could not understand. But yeah, probably next IRL events we should do some more active shooting and you know, something like learning how to play craps would probably make for some good entertainment.
Could be
Dude,
a
see,
lot of
you're just
fun.
showing that you're European because in the States we try and avoid active shooting at our at our engagements.
Yeah,
That
we
gets
don't.
interpreted in a different way.
Yeah, we don't really get shootings. I mean, I'm in Lisbon, and there's no violence here, not that I know of, anyway.
And that's a great
So
spot for crypto, right? I would love to hear like sort of what brought you to Lisbon.
So it's a triple whammy. The Neo Tokyo connection is my demon brother Felix, who leads the dev division in Neo Tokyo, lives around the corner. And he's been telling me how great Lisbon is for a while. And then while I was in the US, one of my friends was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna move to Lisbon," and his daughter is my goddaughter. So I was like, "Okay, my best friend's going there." Also, fuck London. You know, I've been there. I was there for 30 years, and I no more, just no more. It was great in my 20s, okay in my 30s, and now I'm over it. I'm into the chill Lisbon lifestyle. Um, and then I met a woman, and unbeknownst to her, we both separately decided to move to Lisbon. So when we met in London, she was like, "I don't think this is going to work. I'm going to Lisbon." And I was like, "Oh, guess what? So am I." So those three reasons uh, brought me to Lisbon. And, you know, after being here for a few months, I kind of think to myself, I should have come years ago. Because, yeah, food is great, weather's great. You know, start my days with checking if America has nuked the market. And if that hasn't happened, I usually walk to the beach, have a little swim, exercise, and then come start my day. So yeah, it's a pretty good life.
sounds like it. I think one of the greatest things on planet Earth is being able to wake up, walk to a humongous body of water, and just like exist, in the floaty heaven that is whatever, whatever the body of water is. It just does something to your mental that's so positive. I absolutely love it.
So not only does it do something to your mental, but it does something to your physical. It's where cold therapy comes from. That shock of getting into the cold water is really good for your nervous system. Just like heat therapy, like saunas and all that are good. Both cold and heat therapy are great. Speaking of which, yesterday I was at the spa. So, you know, it's it's a good life. You know, wake up, go to the beach, go to the spa, heat therapy, cold therapy. You know, I don't want to live to 150 like Becker, but you know, I would like to not have a shit body when I'm old, basically.
Agreed. And for those who don't have an ocean, maybe you could just like jump, you know, have a big bucket of ice and like jump into that and then turn your heater on really high and stand right outside of the vent and jump back and forth from the two, you know.
Well, hence why I'm wearing so many layers. I just got out of the cold plunge, so that's an option if you live very far away from oceans, which it's hard to imagine a spot farther away from oceans than central Denver. Um, but we make it work either way.
Well,
I
you've
actually
got, yeah, go on.
No, I was just gonna say I actually got this like infrared sauna blanket thing that like you hop in and you like zip yourself up and yo, that shit's awesome. Like you literally get out of it and you're like, I feel like I'm Superman that just got out of a Krypton bath or whatever the thing that powers him up. Not the thing that takes him down, the other thing.
I think a sun bath, a Krypton bath, he'd be dying.
Yeah, whatever the thing he likes, that's you feel like you get out of that.
That would be the
Um,
sun.
yeah,
Which
yeah. Let
works
me
and is another quite warm source.
Yeah, sun therapy is great. Infrared therapy is great. Yeah, all that stuff is good. I think I'm carrying a lot more about that stuff as I get a bit older. Um, it's just, you know, got to do your stretching, your exercise, eat well, take your supplements. Right now, I'm on these little honey pills made of like honey and like what's it called? Acerola cherries, which is the strongest natural concentration of vitamin C. And like you take those in the morning and you're fucking got energy all day. It's nature's drugs. I love it.
That's great. Especially for our space where like mental, like staying sharp is so important and like staying on the path and not like overreacting. I can definitely tell I'm coming off of a very good period of health, which was up until the competition, and then immediately after the competition went back to being a full piece of shit, like pretty much binary. So like
Oh, what
last
are
night
you
for
saying? A 2 for 1 Big Macs? Are you saying?
oh, dude, I'm saying last night Uber Eats came twice. First was to drop off a quart of coffee ice cream, which I then proceeded to put in a crepe and shove it into the top. And then I ordered crumble cookies afterwards, ate like a cookie and a half, and then just like shove the giant pink box into the trash can with all of my self-loathing, pass out into oblivion, wake up today, and I'm like, oh, dude,
What have I
just so
done?
groggy. Exactly. But essentially, like I have to oscillate that way. I always try and like if I start to slip, I almost accelerate getting to rock bottom because I know that's where I bounce. So I
It
leverage short
reminds me.
myself.
It reminds me of that thing where the parent catches the kid smoking, and it's like, "Well, I'm going to watch you smoke this whole pack now," and then the kid never smokes again. So that's what you do to yourself.
Pretty much. Although again is like a quarter at best, and then I usually repeat. But thank God for the ice bath, because that is like an actual sort of like wake up that can kind of like bring you back from even like the worst of grogginess, which I was half a human being before this much caffeine and an ice bath.
Oh man, I actually quit caffeine almost 3 months ago.
Oh, how's
Dude,
that
tell us
going?
about that.
It's fine. Like honestly, it's just I obviously I start my day with all my supplements and so yeah, my girl's really into health, and she has a business doing nervous system resets and all of that kind of stuff. And so I'm trying to be as healthy as possible. So get your vitamins. Start the day with like uh, hot water with lemon and ginger that activates your liver. Trying to do all the things right. Cold swim in the cold ocean. Hot therapy in the sauna, and just really and exercise. Exercise is important. It gets you going, and just trying to get the positive routine out. I've always been good with foods. I don't do Nick pig outs. Um, I have. So I'm crazy about chocolate pretzels, and I'll buy a pack, and then I'll eat like one or two pretzels a day. They're very small, and one of my friends came over and ate my whole fucking pack of chocolate pretzels in like 5 minutes. And
That would be me.
the next day, I went and bought another one and had one out of it. He came back a week later and he's like, "Have you not finished it yet?" I was like, "No, man, one a day. What's wrong with you?" Obviously, he's fucking fat and I'm not. But, discipline.
Oh yeah. Easier said than done. Oh, and feel
But
free to
100%.
plug the lady's health company.
yeah, I
Yeah.
will.
You half did it.
First, while we're on this subject, the reason health and energy is so important when you live in Europe is shit coining or meme coining kicks off around my bedtime. So if I want a meme coin, I need to stay up late. But I hate waking up late, so that means they're just shorter nights. And I wish meme coining happened a bit earlier. But I think around 8 to 9 p.m. here is when it starts. And if you buy a meme coin and then go to sleep, we all know what happens. It nukes while you're sleeping.
Yeah, you become a billionaire, right? That's what happens.
Yes, not financial advice. So so yeah, the reason I have to be healthy is so that I can shitcoin. Well, now you know.
Now, if it's a nervous system company, does that mean that from time to time, like whenever you're caught unawares, she just comes with like an acupuncture thing and like jazz the shit out of you just to like test your different reflexes and such?
No, so it's not acupuncture. So the way it works is it's a it's a retreat where people who are near burnout, addictions to coffee, pharmaceuticals, whatever, you feel like your
Us
life
after the bull cycle.
basically, yeah, after we've made it big and we've let ourselves go a la Nick, we need a little reset. And basically it's quite incredible. I've done one of the retreats, and it was a stressful time because there was fires in Portugal, so people were calling and texting before flying, going, "Is the retreat on? Is everything on fire?" And obviously the news is always quite negative. So you read the news and there's fires raging through Portugal, and then when we're there, we're like, "Yeah, there's nothing going on, man. Chill out." uh, and I'll always remember everyone arriving and being sat at the welcome thing and being in a foul mood, unhappy, stressed, pale, just a bunch of angry people. And after 5 days of going through the process, everyone is loving each other and hugging and like spontaneously bursting out and dancing. It's just complete transformation. And the theory behind it is that almost all health problems can be traced back to nervous system dysregulation, and the main cause is stress. You're in your fight or flight mode constantly, fight, flight, and so what you're not doing is in your rest and digest mode, and so people develop gut problems, stress, headaches, lockjaw, anxiety, and the list goes on. And once you've basically regained control over your nervous system, the change is like night and day. And so I now work with her, trying to spread the good word. I mean, I wish this everybody did it. It's really really life changing stuff. So yeah, I will probably be trying to push this onto Web3 people, because there's not many more people more stressed than Web3. I think they need they need the anti-inflammatory diet, the gut healing protocol, heart variability training. There's you'll love it. They've got the infrared mats, the photo biomodulation, and like all kinds of stuff. And you come out on the other side and you're a new person. So yeah,
I'm
definitely.
sold.
So I'm actually, she said that I could probably try to organize a Neo Tokyo retreat. So this is something I'm going to start
Yes.
thinking about it. So there's one in Mexico and one
Hmm.
in Portugal. They happen in five-star resorts, paradise. And I think could probably do 15 people in Mexico, but the one in Portugal could probably hold 40 or 50. So
Where
yeah,
in
that's
Mexico?
um, hmm. So it's let me I don't want to butcher the name. Uh,
Just give it
it's
your best shot.
Nayarit, 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 Mexico. Um,
Yeah.
Somewhere Fractilian is cringing.
um,
I'll tell you what, my guess is that wasn't close.
the airport
Just
is
throw it in Chat GPT. It'll tell you. It'll tell
the
you.
airport is Puerto Vallarta. Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, that I have heard of. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
Sayulita. Does that
Okay,
ring a
nice.
bell? So it's the
No,
West
but it
Coast.
sounds
Definitely.
closer. It
I
sounds
go there all the time. Yeah.
Um, since I'm doing the editing, I'll drop an image. But yeah, it does look like paradise. And yeah, I think after the bull run, we could all treat ourselves to some Neo Tokyo retreats. Get all the good stuff. Um,
Should it be after the bull run or should it be now, right before the Pico
but
euphoria of the bull run?
the problem is, if you're like me, during the bull run, all your money goes into investing or Bitcoining, and you can't be spending money on other things. It's just
Is so
ramen and investing.
are you saying that investing is 100% allocated to shitcoining? Is that Is that what I'm
Well,
picking up here?
like Daddy Becker, I made most of my proper investments, last year in November, December. Um, that's when I bought most of my coins, and then I've invested with Ure. Uh, Shout out to Ure and Felix. Felix is the man. Um,
Love
and
Felix.
and so I'm pretty happy with my positions. Obviously, none of them have made me rich yet, but at some point, I hope they'll get close at least. So now, I'm looking at the markets, and there's nothing that tickles me that I haven't already put money in. Like an idiot, I'm spread far and wide and thin. And all right, let's talk about meme coins a bit. I recently watched a video from Murad,
Yep.
and I really like his thesis that basically we're in a meme coin super cycle and meme coins are only going to get bigger and bigger. And the reason for it is that meme coins um, attract people for fun and degenerate gambling reasons. And all of this speculative side of altcoins is going to shift from utility altcoins into meme coins. Meme coins have the kind of visibility that normies can get into, and that can then leave altcoins to build and focus on advancing the technology, gaming, AI, whatever it is they're doing. And I think that's actually a good thing. We want less speculation on altcoins, and that way projects with a future will get investment, and those who are masquerading as utility altcoins will go down into the toilet. And then for those who just want to spin the wheel and act crazy, meme coins. And meme coins will be recognizable because memes are not just a crypto thing, they're a dumbass thing. And everybody's got a dumbass side, 4chan, Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, there's memes everywhere. And so I really like the theory that speculation will shift to meme coins. Meme coins will be more like NFTs and casinos, and then the rest of crypto can get back to either being store of value or building your future utility. And so that made me get back into meme coin. uh,
So this is so smart because what we also see, like, first of all, it's calling a spade and just being very upfront with it. So people aren't confused. Like, what the fuck does this token over here do? Most of the time the answer is nothing. It's just a money grab. But over here, it's like this token is here to be a meme. It's to be a catalyst of culture and a way for people to bet on a community of people for whatever reason. You don't even have to have a good reason. As long as it's just a clear reason that people can identify with, boom. But what's also happening at the same time is that we're seeing people in the digital world spending more and more time online. And yes, we're more connected, but really that just means that we're more alone and isolated on our devices. And so people feel that lack of community and connection with other people. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, 3 and 4, they're not getting. And so, oftentimes they're also not getting two because if they can't connect with another person because they're so used to being on the internet, then they're probably not experiencing any sort of romantic involvement with partners. And so, there's a lot of different places of the hierarchy that they're not getting fulfilled by. And so, at the same time, in addition to what you're saying, in addition to what I just said, also there is the exacerbation of the wealth gap between the haves and the have-nots. It's happening. Technology accelerates that because if you have people that can have more AI or more power or more money or whatever, they're gonna be able to compound, and the the ability for people to like upskill or up level themselves and move from super poor to super rich is probably going to get harder and harder over time, especially as machines make human productivity more obsolete. And so people feel like they don't have a way to like get out or they don't have a way to make it. And so meme coins are like, whoa, I heard my cousin's best friend's sister's whatever got rich off of this meme coin. Maybe I can too, because that person's a fucking idiot and I think I'm smarter than them, and they made it here, so I can too. So it gives people hope. So it's like all these things are kind of coming together all at once. And then also the tokenomics are much more favorable to the people. It's 100% fair launch most of the time. They know that they're not about to get dumped on by VCs, and retail is figuring it out this time. And people are going to be able to buy it through like Robinhood and Binance and Coinbase, and so they don't have to come on chain, or at least they don't realize that they're interacting with chain. They're just like, this is the bet. This is a better version of GME. This is a better version of AMC. This is a better version of, whatever. Fill your meme stock name there. So all those things come together. It's powerful.
There's actually something else that you reminded me of. When you were talking about the isolation and the lack of community, this is another thing that Murad guy said. He said that meme coins are like modern religions. And I found that very interesting because he said in this age where young people are feeling disconnected, they don't go to church, they don't have religion, they spend all their time gaming on their computers. And so they don't have the sense of community that you develop by, playing outside with other humans, or by going to church with your family, whatever it is, the sense of community is broken apart. And then in big cities, which there are many of throughout the world, community over there is even more scattered. And so he was saying memes don't pretend to be something they're not. They're a dumb joke with transparent, stupid tokenomics, like buy because it makes you laugh. We'll make shit memes together. And these people connect and they feel like they're part of a tribe. And I think that is actually quite an important factor, because even if a boomer hears this and goes, well, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Well, it's not for you. It's not for you. It's for those younger people who are looking to belong to a community. And if that community is Pepe or Mog or Whiff or Donkey or whatever is the flavor of the day kind of thing, well, that helps them connect. And rather than be on their computer alone, well, they're on their computer having a laugh with people. And in a way, this is what NFTs brought in 2021 when the great communities were born. And I'm obviously talking about Neo Tokyo, the greatest community of them all, but there are others. And I think for a lot of us, this, because I have friends in real life, but none of them know what the fuck I do. And they don't care. And if I try to explain it to them, I can see their eyes roll back because I've just killed their brain. And so, having this group of people who not only understands, but is also, brethren, someone that there's a real connection with, whether we're out for a meal or building a business, there's a real connection. And I think that is something I never expected. When for a very long time, I found it weird that strangers would talk to each other online. And then when I joined Web3 and the barrier
You
to
became
entry,
that.
well, yeah, the barrier to entry for a lot of projects was you had to give just Discord. So I downloaded Discord and was like, what the fuck is this? And it's like, what? I have to go in this group and like meme with people and talk to them and talk about myself. I found it all very weird. But now it's a drug. I can't stop. It's become my new reality. And so a lot of things I thought were insane now make perfect sense. Um,
Dude, it goes beyond that too, because it's not, first of all, it's not just you. I think it's all of us. And jumping back to something you said about the boomer maybe saying that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Yeah, but you've heard of it, which means it's breaking through the cultural zeitgeist and it's making it into the mainstream. And one of the reasons is because one, you can use, instead of all of the tokenomics that go to inside investors or this or that or the other thing, which is just nonsense and it's going to get dumped and it's going to suck for retail, blah, blah, blah. All of that money can either get fair launched to the community or airdropped to the community, or however they disperse it, but in a more fair community centric way. You then have an army of, to your point about religion, people who are fucking zealots about this stuff.
yeah.
I mean, they are going to the ends of the earth to proselytize and get people into the religion. And like, the way they speak is changed, the way that they present themselves is changed. It becomes a part of their identity. And so then you have an army of people who are going out and just like missionaries trying to tell people the good word, they're doing the same thing. And instead of it being like their spiritual reckoning and savior, they're making money from it. And so they're like, well, shit, I just made more money on this meme coin than I did, in a week here than a year at my job. I need to quit my job and do this full time. And so then you have people who their entire lives are built around this idea, and it's very powerful. Like that is unbelievably strong when you have people wrapping their identity in it. Nick, you've been a little quiet on the subject. What do you think?
Well, now that you guys have absolutely exhausted the reasons that it's going to be good, I'll maybe shit on it a little bit. So
Let's go.
very similar to like religions, as you guys are describing. There are going to be a lot of bad actors who take these same mechanics and abuse the living shit out of them to either rug or to essentially weaponize people's loneliness and like horniness and like isolation and greed, and then just ride off into the sunset with all their like fat bag of tears. So there's going to be like both sides of it. I am like generally like I literally have the mother chart pulled up because I'm like, okay, loneliness plus horniness plus greed. Like that's the sort of like mecca. I don't have any mother, but shout
I
out
sold
AP.
mine.
I'm looking at the chart. Where'd you sell it?
No, I sold it months ago.
Oh, nice. It's like now down to a nickel.
Oh yeah, no.
Um,
I made like a soul.
nice.
No.
Well,
Better than
I,
losing a soul.
Yeah.
yeah, there are definitely going to be people who lose their soul. 100%.
I think it's done for a lot of them.
That is like one of the things I think about crypto. Like there is this like beautiful community, like centered part, the technology, the like cutting edge, like futuristic stuff. But at the same point, like I do also view what we do similar to deep space mining. Like this is not a hospitable place that like hits all of the check marks on what you should have. This is not the ocean. This is not cold therapy. This is not heat therapy.
No,
This is
man, this
not
is the Wild West, Wild Wild West.
exactly. And while there is lots of gold in these hills, there's also people that will scalp you and leave you dead next to
And
your wagon.
and there are no U.S. Marshals, no sheriffs. It's
Yeah.
self-policing.
We're pre-Texas Rangers in the revolver. You're
Yeah,
out
yeah.
here being sold pieces of land by people in Boston who are like, yeah, there's a huge chunk of land for you in Denver. You just got to settle it. It's beautiful. And then, next thing you know, grandma got ran over by a wagon wheel and you're out bleeding out in the, Oregon Trail. But I honestly do view this in a lot of ways of like, you have to be careful, like not to give up your soul in the pursuit of sort of making this like dream of like generational wealth. Um, it's heavily sort of like romanticized, but at the end of the day, like most people in here have a number in their head and that they'll go and fuck off onto the beach or pursue whatever sort of like dreams that they do have. So just to add a little bit of vinegar in this sweet, sweet tea.
Yeah, but it's not really vinegar, it's reality. And if I compare where I am now to where I was, a few years ago, I used to live with the candle. The candle was red. I was pissed off and angry and moody and felt unwell. If the candle was green, I was high off life and happy and friendly and walking down the road like kicking my feet up. And I've stopped that. I don't trade anymore. I just invest in whatever Felix says is good, or and and then I work. I make videos and graphics, and then whatever I get paid, I invest into what Neo Tokyo says is good. And it's a much more peaceful life, less stressful. Now, occasionally, when there's an extra soul lying around, I'll throw it into a meme coin. And last week I did that. I put one soul into some stupid meme that 20x, and then I proceeded to lose 19 soul on like 19 different coins. and and I'm back where I started. Did I have fun? No, this was not fun. It was stressful.
But I think your point,
Did you
like,
learn?
No.
sometimes you just get wrecked. That's the thing that also doesn't get talked about. It's like, yeah, sometimes you're left with all these wise Warren Buffett-esque like lessons, and sometimes you just get fucked and left behind a dumpster. And that's part of crypto too. Like,
Yeah.
but I do think that keeping yourself, like as you were describing in the beginning of that, before the spacesuit tears on some level, it is important to isolate sort of your emotions and your self-worth and a lot of habits away from what can be so emotionally like volatile. Like for me, like jujitsu's been a big part of it where they sort of like counterbalance each other, where if I'm getting absolutely wrecked in the market, there's something to be excited about where I'm progressing on the jujitsu side.
Are
And
you
when I'm getting
saying that when you're having a bad day, there's nothing like strangling a motherfucker?
sometimes there's nothing like being strangled to remind you that you're like, oh no, that didn't hurt.
uh, Nick is frozen.
Uh-oh, we lost Nick.
We lost Nick. Just
The
as he
internet
was,
hurt him.
This
just as he
armbar
was
I didn't have to
confessing, he
fucking
likes to
hurt.
be
This is like
strangled.
a decent injury, so it's just like
Oh, we lost you for a sec, Nick. The last thing we heard was
That you like being
sometimes you don't.
strangled.
Yeah, you like being strangled. That's what we got from that.
that was the important part. The internet the internet was the editor for me on that one. That's really the punchline. No clarification needed. Crypto atheist likes being strangled. This is the alpha that you come to for Neo Tokyo's official podcast, Interlinked.
Let's
This
do it.
strangling,
I think we've got the trailer.
this strangling, this love of strangling was powered by Shrapnel in the sacrifice zone.
Ah, shit. We just lost a sponsor.
I feel nodes being ripped out like a Thanos gauntlet.
All right, so I like swimming in the ocean. Nick likes to be strangled. What about you, Ben? How do you blow off steam?
Well, I actually love to every morning I wake up as early as my body will naturally do it. I've started setting timers or alarms for when I go to sleep, not for when I wake up, as I fucking hate being woken up by an alarm. But I'm fine with being reminded that, oh, it's time to go to sleep. So I go to sleep at like 10 p.m. every night.
Oh,
Usually
wow.
wake usually wake up at like 7 a.m. or so every day. And I'm like, I'm trying to be above anything else, I'm trying to be a professional sleeper just to maximize my sleep score because I do think the most powerful compounding effect is actually your sleep adjusted returns because sleep is, as far as my research goes, and I'm obsessed with this stuff, sleep is probably the most important thing when it comes to your health. And for me, health is number one. Like I could
Yeah.
give a fuck about anything else. I want to be healthy. There's a variety of reasons for that. Um, so I wake up early and depending on how I'm experimenting on myself that week, either I eat a meal or I don't, but I always like wake up, take my supplements, check my sleep score, check prices, and then I go for a walk. And it's a good day is when I get at least 5 miles in on the walk in the morning. And like I live in this beautiful part of New Orleans where you can kind of like walk out and then you can walk that way. And then, eventually after walking through some really cool neighborhoods, eventually you get to a park. And in the park, they have these like different workout stations in a loop. It's like, a pretty nice loop, and they have all these workout stations and such. And so what's awesome about that is that then you can get in some like pull-ups and dips and push-ups and whatever these are, pull-ups, whatever,
Chin ups.
um yeah, exactly. So yeah, so you get back, you get chest, you get tries, and you get buys. All, and then as you're doing the thing. So and then I pop on an audiobook and if I'm feeling extra cheeky, I'll stop by, like I'll walk through a coffee shop on the way, grab a coffee, and then, you got caffeine, you got workout, you got beautiful nature, you got sunlight, pop in the audiobooks I'm learning. And like, that's probably one of the greatest things ever. Like, if you were to ask me what is heaven, part of that answer is being able to go on nice epic walks, learning, like sharpening your mind, sharpening your body, abusing caffeine like we all do, and just, or not you, LeBoomington, as of 3 months ago. But
I drink coffee, but caffeine free.
oh, there you
Oh,
go.
that's a nice
Well, bam.
compromise.
Yeah, I
But
like that a lot.
I have experienced no loss of energy or vitality. So I do want, like, I feel like coffee was probably more like cocaine. It was just like you get that shot of energy, but then it leaves you coming down. I don't come down anymore. And I sleep like clockwork. I sleep from 1 a.m. to 8 a.m. every day. I have to stay up till 1 because shitcoining. It's because I'm in Europe. I will shift. It's always this. It's always 7 hours, maybe 8. And if I'm in a different country, I'll adjust. And if I'm in the US, then I'll go to sleep earlier and wake up earlier. But I also hate alarm clocks, so I get it. And I also love to start my day with a walk. So you're right. To people who don't start their day with a walk, I'll say this: start your day with a walk. Just get some fresh air, clear your mind, think about what you want to achieve, and then go fucking achieve it.
Yeah, morning walk is an absolute must. I'm definitely on that grind as well. The one thing that I do differ on is like I make sure that I don't check prices until after the walk or check anything. So that way, like I don't it doesn't like because if I have like a Telegram message, it's like, and we all are everything's an emergency in Web3. So it's like da 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 da, and then I just get all this fucking like negative energy in like pre-walk. So I try and like wake up, take my creatine and liquid, not liquid IV, the element one. So get my like electrolytes, get my creatine, go out on the walk, and then like come back and like check everything.
Do you audiobook it though?
No, I just walk.
Oh,
I
because I go
listen
for
to
like
rave
five
music.
miles.
How long does, yeah, it takes, I'll go for like 3.5. And then like some of the walks like throughout the day because I like space them out. So I'll get my morning walk, then jujitsu starts at like 11, and then like sort of every other day depends if it's a double or a single day. Doubles like have sparring after training, and then I'll go and walk after that, and sometimes then I'll use the podcast. But for me, it's very important to like not. I had a huge tendency when I was younger, like maybe like 5 years ago, to overload information, where every time I was like had the ability to listen to a podcast or listen to an audiobook, I would. But then I realized I was like, maybe I should spend more time contemplating and reducing the intake a little bit. So I'll go and read a chapter, then I'll go on a walk and see what that sort of inspires. But I have found that like the more processing time, it sort of like is like clearing the RAM, so to speak, and I can sort of like shift things to like long-term storage and like actually chew on it rather than like sort of like shoving one thing after another like I did with cookies and ice cream last night.
I
I'm gonna
treat my
try it.
learning like cooking. Nom, 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 nom.
Yeah, pretty much my dopamine deficiency pretty much turns everything into like drug addictive habit between like working out, everything.
Well, you know who needs a nervous system reset because that deals with your dopamine addiction.
I do. I definitely
Yeah,
do.
I definitely do.
I mean, I think we'd have a lot of fun. Like we'll have to have the three of us, and we need to get Fractilians, and we need to get Jared. We need to get a fun little crew and go do a reset in
Felix.
Mexico.
Yep.
Dude, also we'll drop the link to what you haven't given the name yet of the company.
It's called Reprecision Health. So I will be in Mexico in January, February at the retreat. So maybe we
Boom.
could get
Let's
one.
go.
We could get one going.
Yeah, that'd
And
be epic.
when's TGE?
So all joking aside, I have been floating the idea of doing of making of basically doing a Web3 side of it, where I target Web3 people more because I think they need it more, probably like more even than New York lawyers. And then the idea came to maybe do NFT collection. The utility is basically if you attend a retreat, you get an NFT, and as long as you have that NFT, you get 5% off your next booking or something like that. I'm all about NFTs that have a purpose. Fuck collecting art.
Plus, a
Just get
Discord community could be a cool addition too. Like that gives
yeah.
you a way to stay in touch with people who have
So
also done the retreat.
So the only problem with both the Discord and the NFT is that for all of the Web3 people I contact, this is perfect. But for the 1,000 existing clients who are age 40 to 60 or over, they're like, this what? NF what? And then you need to install a wallet for them. And like it's suddenly the
Yeah.
amount of work becomes huge.
Here's all you got to do. Here's all you have to do. Start giving people the ability to opt in to have their metrics and vitals and everything measured, and start building a database of non-identifiable health information and
So
reward
there's
people.
already that. So there's already the opt-in for the metrics on the health,
Boom.
and I
Give
think
them tokens. Give
there's a
them
research
tokens if they do
project
it.
going with Pittsburgh University.
Exactly.
But you want to reward them with a shitcoin. Is that what I'm understanding?
How
That we
reward
come
them
up
with
with in a sweat
tokens.
lodge.
Oh yeah,
Yes. Reward
so
them with
that's one of the
tokens.
things, the Temescal.
Mother.
I actually love sweat lodges. I did one time. It was fucking cool. Like we
Yeah,
had the full Native American
yeah,
shaman
same.
guy experience coming. You like burn the rocks. You do the
Yeah,
whole group thing. You go into the tent. They have like a fucking bear skin covering it so no heat escapes. And then while you're
Sick.
in it, they keep tossing water onto the rocks every round and they heat it up and they do some ceremony shit. And then
so you
right when
did.
you're at peak experience, they start to feed you this weird propaganda about how the world's going to end and only a select few are going to make it to this new world. And so you need to listen to everything that the shaman says, or else you're not going to make it.
Is
And
that
so
New
what I
World Neo
discovered,
Tokyo?
I don't know what it is, because as
It
the
was
shaman was
Becker and
saying
Elliot.
this, as the shaman was saying this, I was like, but what about everybody else? What about all the rest of the people? Are you saying that we should just let everybody else die? And so I started asking questions. He stopped liking me after I started asking questions during this peak experience when he was talking about letting everybody die. But I'm okay with that because he was trying to brainwash everybody. And I was like,
So I
fuck
think
this,
you
dude.
had
We're
a
not doing that.
crazy fucking shaman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. But everything else was great. I would totally do it again.
because
Plus,
I'll go
I
shaman
did one of
busting.
those. I did
I'll
one of
fucking rip
those.
them all.
The Temescal, like the native Central American sweat lodge, and with the rocks, and then the chanting and the crazy sounds, and he would each round you would offer a spontaneous prayer of something you're thankful for,
See, that's a
whatever
good
it is
one.
you want. And it was really good. And then we came out. We went in during the day. It was hot, and we were in there for like 3 hours. And we came out, and it was night, and it was cold. And there's a river, and the river was lit up. And so you walk to the river, and then you jump into the cold water after the heat, and you feel all four elements because you can feel the ground of the river in your feet, then the cold water around your body, the cold air around your shoulders and your head, and then the fire coming out of you because your insides are really hot. And it's a pretty deep moment. Yeah, it felt like I'd taken hallucinogenics. After that, like we were all seeing shit, like the whole thermal shock. It was really really cool. I'd love to do one with you guys. It'd be good fun.
Oh, I'd love
100%.
to. And that sort of highlights like it happens with religions, it happens with shit coins. There's like good and bad actors. There's the beautiful, like sort of like, Buddhists that you might meet in your regular life or learning meditation from. And then there's the dickhead at a music festival who takes advantage of a bunch of spunions sitting in a circle who are too afraid to ask this guy to leave as he tries to keep getting them to buy his prayer beads. Like there's gonna be both freaking spectrums. And
That
yes,
sounded
that
like a personal experience, man.
oh, dude, it's the fucking worst. Because like you want to like, especially if you're all spun and shit, you want to like believe in like this innate goodness in the world, and you're like, oh, this guy, he's just spreading the principles of Buddhism, and next thing you know, he's handed you prayer beads and he's asking you for $20, and I'm like, bro, I was just looking at this, I don't want this shit. Like,
Stop
and
selling beats to people, Nick.
dude, it's free beads with a strangling. It's a hot deal. Ticker is can't breathe. Available now on Radium.
So actually, I forgot to say this earlier, but it reminded me when we were talking about crazy people doing crazy shit. There's a wonderful documentary that just came out on Netflix called The Antisocial Network. It goes into the history of 4chan and
I've watched
memes
it.
and how the group Anonymous, the hacker group Anonymous, came out of that, and how QAnon kind of tried to co-opt that and also came out of that culture. And they had a very compelling argument for how all of that stuff kind of led to where there was this inner circle of people who were building memes, and it was like the jokes became, there were so many derivative jokes of like things that were funny years ago, and everybody knew that they were kidding and just fucking around. Eventually it was repeated so much, and there were so many derivative tier one, two, three, four, five derivatives off of the initial meme that people started to believe it. And so they started to get, radicalized by, you know on actors with less than noble intent. And then eventually they were like trying to tie that to January 6th and everything that happened there. It was
Yeah.
fascinating. But the idea of like jokes that started off where people knew it was funny earlier on in the cultural zeitgeist getting amplified and like through a series of telephone based, people don't understand eventually what they're talking about, then they get brainwashed and believe, and then other people come in and co-opt that attention and that moment in culture and people. It was so fascinating. And I bet you could find some alpha about what's going on with meme coins by studying that. I sure did. I got a lot out of that,
So it's
actually.
it's an outstanding documentary, and I wholeheartedly recommend it. Very good, watched in tandem with Feels Good Man, which is the documentary about the
Mm.
creator of Pepe. And basically,
Oh, I'm
Pepe
checking that out.
was created, and then it was hijacked by the people from 4chan and like turned into something he had no control over. But yeah, it's an incredibly interesting documentary, and the way there was the splinter, there was the anonymous guys that eventually were hunted down by the FBI, and then you had the toxic masculinity guys who just wanted to do racist jokes. Then you had the people who just wanted to have fun, who eventually were pushed out by the toxic people, and then they went on to create 8chan and all the others, and like how it all grew from this initial group that wanted to be hacktivist, change the world, make it a better place by exposing truth and doing jokes. And then the hacktivists and the jokers separated, mainly because the hacktivists were all arrested and there was no one left to basically control 4chan. But yeah, incredibly interesting. If you haven't watched it, I recommend you watch it. It's very educational and entertaining.
Yeah, I got it pulled up.
100%.
I'm definitely going to give it a watch. I mean, I think the crazy thing is you can understand these memes are very similar to viruses. Like whatever they were either created or started off with, like naturally, like it's just the lowest denominator of transferable information. And that can either be like sort of consciously manipulated through gain of function meme research, or it can just happen like sort of like naturally where you create something and it just
The thing
spreads in a way
is,
that you didn't intend.
a meme is just a joke. It's a graphic representation of a joke. And it can be political, it can be funny, it can be shocking, it can be racist, it can be misogynist. Jokes can be all kinds of things, and memes can be all kinds of things, and jokes can be coerced to change people's minds about things the same way as memes. So it's like you said, they spread like viruses. You heard a joke when you were at school, and you'd immediately say it to your friend, who'd say it to the next one, and then one day you're traveling on the other side of the world, and someone tells you a joke that you're pretty sure you invented, but actually no, that joke's been going around. Like it just it just permeates the human psyche beyond our control. Once it's out, it's out.
Hell yeah. I think that's a great spot to wrap on a great conversation on memes and just life and personal habits and failings and liking getting choked. So I am not surprised that we had just another wonderful conversation, the three of us. I look forward to the retreat, but always freaking
Shall we
enjoy an
stop having
hour.
guests and just, have our team meet up every week?
Sorry, Ace.
We should
We're
get
canceling next week.
we should actually just have the guests do the editing and you come on with us.
I like it.
Well,
Hell
ladies
yeah.
and gentlemen, meat bags, citizens alike, or citizens and meat bags. Meat bags go second, citizens first. We appreciate you all for being a part of this fun experiment that we call Interlinked, and we will see you on the next episode. Thanks, Boom. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah. Take care, boys. See you later.
Letty out.